Buda Castle, originally built as a refuge against the Mongols in the middle of the 13th century, was not a royal residence at the time of its foundation. The construction of the first royal palace started in the end of the 1370s by King Louis the Great, which was enlarged by his successor King Sigismund. In 1408 Sigismund finally moved his court from Visegrad to Buda, and the palace became a permanent royal seat, where the country was ruled from, until the Turkish occupation. The golden age of the medieval palace was during the reign of King Matthias, who rebuilt the entire palace complex in Renaissance style, predominantly due to the influence of his second wife Beatrice of Naples, who came from Italy, where this new style originated from. Scholars, artists, and craftsmen followed her into the Hungarian court, which became a celebrated center of the Renaissance art and sciences in Europe. His famous library consisted of about 3,000 codices, known as Corvinas, was one of the most renowned libraries of the Renaissance world. During the 145 years of Turkish occupation between 1541 and 1686, the palace completely lost its previous role and glory. It was used as military barracks, warehouse and prison. It was severely damaged during the siege of recapture of Buda from the Turks in 1686, as a result of a gunpowder explosion. The former medieval palace was replaced by a new representative baroque palace during the reign of Maria Teresa in the second half of the 18th century. Although the palace was ready to receive the king, and the Hungarian estates made serious attempts to re-establish the Buda Castle as a royal residence, the Habsburg rulers did not intend to move to Buda from Vienna, the capital of the empire. Empress Maria Teresa, who stayed only once in the newly built palace, in 1771 gave it to the nuns of the Order of Blessed Virgin Mary, who were entrusted to preserve the Holy Rite, the precious hand relic of King Saint Stephen. Its symbolic significance was further increased when by the order of Emperor Joseph II, the Holy Crown of Hungary was returned from Vienna and placed in the royal palace. From the end of the 18th century the palace became the residence of the Palatines, the king's governors in Hungary, who were appointed from the archdukes of the Habsburg dynasty. The last large-scale extension of the palace took place in the end of the 19th century, during the reign of Franz Joseph I. A new wing was built on the western side facing the Buda Hills, which became the private residence of the king. The already existing baroque palace was also extended with two new wings, keeping its royal ceremonial functions. The palace gardens were remodeled and extended with the near-Renaissance building of the Castle Garden Bazaar. The last Habsburg ruler Charles IV used the palace until 1918, the end of the Great War, which had swept the Habsburg dynasty and the Austro Hungarian Empire. His successor Governor Miklos Horthy moved to the palace in 1921 and remained there until 1944, when he was removed by the occupying German troops. The palace, which accommodated the military headquarters in the Second World War, had severe damages during the siege of Budapest in 1945. The whole building burnt out, its dome and some of its walls collapsed, its artwork was destroyed, and its art treasures were looted by the Nazis and the victorious Red Army. Only the Hungarian Holy Crown and the Holy Rite survived, which had been taken to Austria before the siege. Although the post-war reconstruction restored the palace exterior into its previous form, its interior was entirely modernized to lose completely its original decor. The initial idea of the post-war communist government was to use it as a party headquarters, but finally it was decided to place public cultural institutions into the building. Currently the palace is occupied by the Hungarian National Gallery, the Budapest Historical Museum, and the National Library. As a result of the large-scale reconstruction project of the Buda Castle started in 2014, several historic buildings in the palace courtyard have been resurrected, and the rehabilitation of the palace interior is also on the agenda.